Hello, and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 551, and I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. We both use she, her pronouns, and it is November the 1st, 2021. So we've been gone for 2 weeks because last week both Laura and I just weren't feeling well at different points in the week.
Yep.
And so we took a rare week off.
We did. And did all the things.
Yes, and I at least was rejuvenated because I got a lot done. So, and Laura got a lot done. It's just harder to see that because the things that she's working on are big projects. So,
well, one of them.
well, the spinning's a big project too.
It is. That's true. And we started, today was the start of the, so it was the end of the Halloween craft all the things and the start of the fleece and fiber process all the things. So
what does that mean I have to do?
nothing. You don't have to do anything.
Okay, cool.
But we had talked about it a couple months ago.
Yeah, I do vaguely. I just didn't know if there were plans now.
No, like I am going to try to process or work on processing, which can be washing fleece, it can be
like carding
or combing or making rollags or spinning, whatever floats your boat, knitting, for 15 minutes a day. And I'm doing some Instagram lives along with that. So earlier today I did one on my personal account, which is Lala Knits on Instagram, and I was carding some CVM. So I made one whole bat today.
Sounds super exciting.
I know. It was very, like some people really like the sound of carding.
Like an ASMR kind of.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
So Laura's grafting right now, so I'll start. As far as knitting, I'm really only working on one thing right now. I do still have my Camino bubbles on the needles, but I haven't touched it since last week, except to move it from one place to another. So I didn't even bother to bring that up. But the other thing that I'm working on is a baby sweater, and it is out of the lovely Tin Can Knits Simple collection. This is Flax Light.
It's a great collection, and all the patterns in the collection are free.
Yep. And they're sized amazingly. They're sized all the way from like newborn up to, I believe, a finished chest size of, let's see, that is the A measurement. So 66.5 inches.
And they're all, for the most part, they're all unisex and
gender neutral, yeah.
And they have like little tutorials that you can watch as you go along. So if you're looking to do a first sweater, they are great.
Yeah, like they have, like this one just has a cool diagram of, if you've never done a top-down raglan sweater, this sort of shows you the steps. And when you've got your stitches on holders, it looks like this. And when you're knitting it at the beginning, you're knitting it in 4 sections, and this is why. And like, these ladies are brilliant. The Tin Can Knits ladies, I can't say enough positive things about them. They really...
They just put out a new paid-for pattern, too, that's gorgeous.
Yeah. And, yeah, just brilliant stuff. They do a lot of, like, things that will age really well. They're not, the designs aren't too trendy so that they'll be dated.
They're good wardrobe
staples.
Yes.
Yeah, so I started this, and I started out of some yarn from Twisted, which Laura tells me that she's not dying anymore, so I don't
believe so.
I didn't link it in the show notes. If that's inaccurate, please let us know. Ashley, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe it was Ashley. We had her SSK a couple times. She's a lovely human being. Our show notes are found on our website, which is TheKnitGirlls, with 3 L's in the name, .com. And this is, it's just a tweedy sort of...
It's an undyed rainbow tweed piece.
Confetti, I believe is what it was called. The tag is somewhere. Don't know where. But yeah, it was, I think the base had like 430 something yards in it. So And this size, I'm knitting the 6 to 12 month size, and that called for 400 yards, so I should have plenty.
Yeah.
Because I don't typically run super short.
That's a good size for a baby that's going to be born in the winter.
Right, and I asked what sizes would be useful, so...
Look at you.
Because the mom's a knitter, so...
Yeah.
And probably has lots of knitter friends who will also supply knits, so I wanted to try to pick a size that was not as well serviced.
And that's a great yarn for that too, because it's very like if she has another baby at some point, it works for all babies.
So I'm pretty sure I did the sleeves wrong, because I think you're only supposed to have a garter panel along the top.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm doing the whole sleeve in garter, but
that's fine.
Whatever. I was at Laura's and we were watching TV and doing a VKN, and I just didn't really feel like setting aside 10 minutes.
And it was Halloween.
Read the instructions. Plus, whatever, the sleeves will be fine in garter. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
So I've got to get to 5 inches from the underarm stitch marker. I think I'm at about 2 inches, so I've just got a lot of knitting to go. I'm using my ChowGoo, these little ones. Twist minis, maybe? I forget what they're called.
Oh yeah, those are good ones.
And so they're good for small circumference knitting. So I've got, I believe I'm using a 6 or a 5. A 6 on the right hand side, but I've got a smaller needle on my left hand side as a feeder needle. So yeah, that's the thing that I'm working on.
And you do that because of what reason?
Because it makes it easier to scooch the needles over to be knit.
The stitches?
The stitches, yes.
Gotcha.
Over to be knit. Not that I need a whole lot of help, because this is kind of a slickish yarn, and the needles are metal, so it glides pretty well already.
Gotcha.
So I'm also working on some overalls, the Yanta overalls, but they're sort of half assembled over there, so I'm going to leave them where they are. But I have another sewing thing that's in progress that I'll show you. And this is a pattern called No Hole in My Pocket. The pattern is linked in the show notes. And it's a simple sort of jersey knit dress, but it's got the option for pockets on the side, which I liked.
Ooh.
And I'm also doing a reverse applique octopus on the front. Because,
yes.
you know, when I go half weird, I'm doing full weird. So it's hard to see in this light. Let me put it up a little closer. You can see I've marked the octopus in black in this friction pen, which disappears with heat or water, maybe? I can't remember.
Friction.
Definitely heat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, friction generates heat. So a lot of quilters use these pens for, like, quilting, making marks, because as soon as you press them with your iron, the marks disappear. And I believe it's a Pilot pen. I think that's the brand. So I've marked out the octopus, and what I'll do is I'll take a thick thread and I'll outline the edges, and then underneath this layer there's a layer of this fabric here, because when I put it together I put this layer underneath.
Ooh.
So the octopus will look like this. It'll have this sort of design, and I did it that way intentionally because most, well, I don't know about most, a lot of octopuses, and it is octopuses, not octopi.
Really?
I don't know why, but it is.
Huh.
I watched a video
I wonder
on
what a
it.
group of octopuses is called.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it's going to be the title of this episode.
Is it like a school, like Fish Are, maybe?
I'll have to look it up in a second.
Ooh, yes.
Probably one of our brilliant viewers knows
already
the
knows.
answer, but
yeah.
I don't. But yeah, so when I made the top, I sewed the 2 layers together. But octopuses a lot of them have natural camouflage, and so they can look really weird and colorful.
Esco can, like, they're super smart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're you cannot make a container that they cannot get out of. They're brilliant. And persistent. I mean,
persistence sometimes is the key.
Yeah. So, again, I'm working on that. It's going well. I've just been doing a whole lot of sewing, so I haven't got...
So you're going to outline it with, like, a thread and then remove it, and then will it fray, or...
So it's a knit fabric, so it won't fray like a woven will fray and come
Gotcha.
apart. But what you do for reverse applique, when I say reverse applique, the most popular example of that right now is Alabama Channon. That lady did not invent the technique. She's just the most popular like version of it right now.
She's like the person who is over it.
Right. Well,
like,
yeah, she's the person who does classes on it, and she's made a business out of it,
Yeah.
and that's great. I'm happy for her, but the supplies for her garments are very expensive
Yeah.
and not size inclusive. So,
you do your own thing.
Exactly. You do what makes you happy. But, so for example, here on some tentacles, I'll outline everything that's in black. We'll have like sashiko style short stitches with a thick thread. And then once that's completely done, I'll pull away the top layer from the bottom layer and make one careful little snip with scissors, making sure that I'm not catching the bottom layer. And then I'll carefully cut out inside those lines, the line of stitches, so that you'll have the underside, that pattern, and then the line of stitches will hold the fabric down, and you'll have the whole design, and it'll pop out.
So are you hand stitching that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. I thought about doing sort of there's a process called drawing with thread. I forget, there's a name for it that escapes me at the moment, but where you essentially draw on your fabric with thread and sort of sharp choppy lines, sort of like a sketchbook. And I thought about doing something like that, but it's just too big of a piece, and with a knit fabric it wouldn't work super well.
So that'll be lighter weight where you remove it, which will be good for you because you're usually warm.
I do run warm, yeah.
Does the dress have sleeves or no?
It has half sleeves.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
like
the options were there for, full or short or whatever, but I like a half sleeve for something like this. And this is heavy enough that it's something you'd wear, not in the summer, but in the transition seasons or in winter with leggings or something. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I finally got the thread that I needed today, because just regular sewing thread isn't thick enough, and you can double or triple it, but then you got separate threads.
Could you
there.
use embroidery floss?
You could, but again, you got the issue of it being thin single thread, so you have to double or triple it, and it just can become kind of a pain to keep up with. But there's a Coates and Clark, the thread you can get from Walmart.
Yeah.
They have a specific type called button and craft thread.
Yeah.
And it's thicker. It's like a polyester core with cotton wrapped around the outside of it, so it gives it a thick look without a lot of the bulk.
Gotcha.
So, Michael's had it, and I went today and grabbed some on my lunch break after a 3-hour morning meeting. 'Cause
Ooh.
that's my life all week. Yay. Anyway, so yep, that's what I've been working on. I think I talked long enough for Laura to mostly finish her hat.
Mostly.
Do you want to talk about your hat?
Yeah, I'm almost there. I think I'm almost there. Because it calls for me to pull these two ends inside together and whip stitch them together. So we're going to do that real fast. I started a chemo hat for a friend. His mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so I wanted to do something for him that would also, oh, look at that, be good for her.
So you didn't need my help.
Yeah, I think that one side looks really good and the other side does
It's just
not.
a blocking thing.
Yeah, I'll fiddle with it. So this is an envelope style hat by Woolly Wormhead. Yeah, I just want that one side to be better. Okay.
I'm gonna look up School of Octopuses.
Okay. So it is the Envy, I believe, ENVE. Leslie has the thing blocking the show notes a little bit. That's okay. You're busy too. And I knit out of Fully Spun, Original Erin, and the Cherry Blossom. So this is her, like, spun and dyed in the wool and then spun by a mill. And it creates, like, this very cool, I'm going to take the needle out, like, gradient, hand-spun looking effect. And obviously I still need to weave in the ends and block, but I'll do that tonight. It's got an envelope top, which I've never done before, which is why I was telling Leslie that I might need some help. I think that looks cute. Yeah. I like the top of that, actually.
Yeah.
I was a little bit worried that it might be, like, too trendy of a top for, like, a 70-year-old woman, but I don't think it is. I think it's perfect. Yes. Awesome. When I told him, this is a coworker or friend, when I told him I was knitting a chemo hat for his mom, he cried today. So I want to get it to him tomorrow because she's having a double mastectomy next week. So I want to get that. And she's been experiencing chemo for a couple months now. So now that it's getting really cool in Mississippi, it was like a high of 68 today. I really want to get that to him tomorrow. Cool. I'll put that to block and put a fan on it tonight and it will be done. So even though it says in progress on the show notes, it's actually done. The yarn was lovely to work with. This is one of the things that she just did, Fully Spun did a Kickstarter for. So yeah, super happy with it. So is Buffy.
The collective noun, even though octopuses are solitary animals, and the collective noun is very rarely used, is a consortium.
Ooh, that's a good one. So, yeah, that's done. My socks do like a consortium of octopus. They have to live together at some point, right? Do octopus
they
lay
come
eggs?
together to mate, but only one parent watches the
offspring.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not finish my Halloween socks, but I did make a little bit of progress.
It looks like a little candy corn.
It does. They are not going to be the same. The balls of yarn were very different from Knit Picks.
Identical.
Yeah. And, yeah. So they won't be identical, but they'll still work. Yeah, for sure. So I'll just have to pay more attention when I go to do like different points. But yeah, so a little bit of progress on those. And then the last thing on the needles, I ran out of yarn on my sweater, and so I am currently spinning more, but I ran out of yarn with one row left. It's very sad.
One row on the body and then like 8 rows for sleeves or something.
Yeah.
Right? So very little left, but...
Yep. So I'm spinning the rest of it. So right now you can kind of see that herringbone detail at the top. Yeah, there we go. So I have the wrong side row of that, and then I will 3 needle bind off the body together at the top and pick up for a neckband that is I-cord, and then pick up and knit 4 rows for the sleeves, and then pick up for the bottom and knit I-cord down there, and then it'll be done. So maybe 100 yards left. I don't know. That's probably being generous.
I would think that. But with you, there's never a too generous.
Leslie told
yardage.
me to spin the whole yarn, which I'll do.
To be fair, that was before I even really knew how much was left.
She was just like, spin all 4 ounces.
You're gonna need more than you think you're gonna need. So just spin it all.
So it's almost done. I did swatch for my next project, which is a vest, but I will talk about that once it really gets started. It's going to be out of Barocco Remix, so it should be fairly quick knit. Mm-hmm. And it's only 800 yards. It's a little vest. So yeah, that's it for both finished objects and works in progress for me. Do you have any finished objects?
I have a metric buttload of finished
Oh,
things.
awesome.
So, first thing that I finished which I think I finished like the day after we recorded last time, is the Ursa Canis. This is the pattern by Jacqueline Cieselak, which is the Ursa sweater for dogs, essentially. I heavily modified mine because my dog's neck is 20 inches and his chest is 30 inches, and there was only 6 inches between those two. And none of the patterns accounted, or none of the sizes accounted for that difference, which is fine. Like he's a mutt, a whippet dachshund mutt, so I just made adjustments. I increased much more quickly, and tried it on him frequently so that I could figure out.
And when I came in, he was wearing it, and it looked good on him.
Yeah, he likes it. He likes clothes, but he's a short-haired dog, so he doesn't really have a lot of natural warmth.
Pearl does not like clothes. She's still in her skeleton hoodie, though.
If I were to knit this again, and I very well might, I would probably start the neck smaller. Like, I would start it for a smaller size and then go up, because it does sit kind of low on his neck, like just above his shoulders. So I do have to kind of pull it up sometimes. So I would probably start the neck a little bit smaller and then just increase out. Yeah. But it fits him fine, and I've got pictures of him outside in it, so I'll put those pictures here.
Ta-da!
But yeah, so he's worn it on and off for about a week. He slept in it, and yeah, it fits him great. So no complaints there. This is out of Mission Falls 1824 wool, which is no longer made. But it is superwash, which is helpful because it's for a dog. What else? So I've also finished a hat that I was working on last week, Parallelograys. This is by Kino Knits. Once I got to the top, I decided I was not going to do decreases in Fair Isle because I just didn't feel like it. So I just did some stripes of the colors that were used. She does give you instructions on how you can decrease sort of in pattern. So it's no fault of the pattern. I just didn't feel like it. So
have you found a recipient for your hat yet?
I haven't yet. I haven't figured out who it's going to go to.
Has Michael seen
it? It will not fit over his enormous head.
Oh, really?
His head is enormous. So it fits over my head fine, but it's really snug. So I probably will. I'm gonna give it to my niece.
Be a good Christmas present.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't decided. I mean, it fits an adult fine, like a normally sized-headed adult.
Just not a Michael normally sized headed adult.
Literally, I'm pretty sure his head is 25 inches around.
Does it fit Kobe?
It's enormous. I don't know, but his hair's thicker than mine, so
maybe not.
Maybe not. And it's longer than mine by at least 6 inches.
Yeah, I need to get a haircut.
I would like for him to get a little, like a trim, but he's 18, so I will suggest it, but I will not take care of it for him because he is technically a grown-up. So
yep.
So I really liked knitting this. The Fair Isle came out really well balanced once I blocked it. There were no puckers or weird spots, so that made me happy because I know how to do Fair Isle, I just don't do it a lot, so I don't have great established tension practices with my left hand.
Ta-da! All ends woven in.
Yep.
Yes. What else do you have finished? I know, right?
My thumb is killing me. I've started feeling tight and soreness in my thumb. I talked to my nurse practitioner today, and she's going to send me to an ortho consult because I've still, even though I'm doing stuff like I got a new desk and I adjusted the height of the chair so that my elbow to wrist is perfect. I've got
you do a lot on
a split keyboard that's angled out so that my wrists have no tension on them. I sleep with braces on my arms, on my hands and wrists, and so I've done all the things I can think of.
You can do, yeah.
And I still have tingling in these 3 fingers sometimes, and numbness, and
sounds like you might be
yeah, she said the symptoms for this hand sound like carpal tunnel.
Yep.
The symptoms for my left hand, it's just my thumb that's like the joint right where it joins to the hand is frequently sore and really tight. So she said that could be like inflammation, and they could give me a shot or something. But
Yeah.
she's gonna send me to an ortho, so we'll figure it out from there.
Yep.
Another thing that I finished that I actually want your opinion on. So I went digging through my whips because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to knit, and so when that happens, I usually just go and find whips and figure something out and finish something. So this was a very old whip. I was in New Jersey the last time that I was working on these.
There's mitts.
They are mitts. This is from Turtle Pearl's trench coat colorway.
Yeah.
May or may not be similar to the Burberry color scheme.
Yeah.
And so I just did a very simple pattern. I went back and forth around the thumb with a simple 2-stitch I-cord edge there. But
I like the way it looks.
The problem that I've got is I bound off an I-cord, and the I-cord is rolling.
Yep.
So I don't know if I want to pull out the I-cord and just do a few rows of like ribbing, or if there's a way I can, like I sort of messed around with tacking it down, but there's no really neat way to do that. So
I would do some 1x1 rib, because
Yeah.
it's going to give the illusion. Or what did you do down here? 2x2?
Yeah.
I would do 2x2 then.
Yeah. So I can always rip it down to like the first row of the brown
Do
here.
you have more yarn?
Yeah, I've got plenty left over, but I wouldn't want to add more to it.
Well, it's going to shrink in length because ribbing takes more yarn. So it'll end up like here probably.
That's a lot of shrinkage.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Well, I don't know. I've got plenty
Although the
of
I-cord
yarn.
eats up a lot of yarn too,
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So I might rip out the tops of these and fix them. But yeah, so I've got 2 of them because I have 2 hands.
Do you?
I'm a rebel that way. Yeah. So they're done.
But not really.
Well, yeah, not really. I have to decide if I care enough to rip them out.
That would bother me. The rolling would bother me.
So we'll see.
Yeah. I guess it depends if you're going to keep it or give it to someone else.
Yeah, I think I had cast on. No, I hadn't. I had the other skein wound, but not cast on. Because it came in 2. Turtle Pearl typically sells in 2 smaller identical skeins. So, yeah. So I finished those. What else did I finish? That's all the knitting that I finished, but I finished a bunch of quilt squares. So
Ooh.
Michael built me a table that it's adjustable, like height-wise, but the lowest setting is still just a smidge too high for me. So the bottom layer of the table has a cutting board, a cutting mat, like glued to the surface, affixed to the surface, and then the top part of it, which is you can lift it out of the way, is a pressing mat. So
and it's like 3x3 maybe?
It's 18 by 24.
Up there you go.
Because that's the size the cutting mats came in. And so I can press stuff, and it's got a little thing on the side where I can put my iron. So when I can press stuff, and then I can lift it out of the way, the top out of the way, and it's on a hinge, so it goes just above 90 degrees and stays out of my way. But I can quickly pull it back down.
Yeah.
When I'm done cutting, if I need to press something else. So it's like super increased my productivity, which is really helpful. Because I didn't have any space on the right hand side of me. All my space was on my left, but I'm right handed, so I was constantly having to move stuff around over here. So this quilt, I had done 9 of the squares, but this last row down here, I hadn't done these, but I did all of those. This one is the Canyon Sunrise quilt. This is from Quilt Blocks.
So that's the finished quilt there?
That's just one block.
Oh, okay.
This is the full quilt here.
Oh, okay.
This was something I got at Joann's. I can't find it anymore online, so I didn't link it. But I did 3 of those blocks, so I'll show you that.
Are they all done now?
all the blocks are done.
Wow.
So I need to cut sashing, the white like strips that go between the blocks.
Looks like there's little squares.
Yeah, it's
too.
just out of leftovers. Yeah, so this is 10, 11, and 12. And I need to measure them and make sure they're exactly the right size, because sometimes they'll be an inch or so off. So I've got these little pins that have numbers in them. So it tells
look
me
at you.
So this is quilt block number 10. And
Jelby makes little markers now that are numbered, and you can just, like on the safety pins, you could also use those for similar.
I think that's what Becca got us for
the mushrooms.
Yeah.
They're super cute.
This is number 11. And this is number 12. So these came with the fabric pre-cut, and sometimes they were not cut perfectly. So a lot of these points aren't perfect, but I don't care. I mean, the whole quilt, each little package cost me $2, so it was $24 total for all the squares and the material.
But you'll need to get backing fabric. And,
yeah, for sure. Sashing, which will be just plain white probably. But I've got leftovers to do.
And the inside material, whatever you decide.
Batting.
There you
go. But yeah, so even for quilt blocks though, that's pretty cheap for...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For the front. And then I have been working on and off the switchback block of the month. And this is the last one. I've been putting it off because you need a bunch of scraps.
A lot of pieces.
Yeah, and it's paper piecing, so it's where you put it on upside down and backwards and you sew it to the thing, and then
your favorite.
Although it's not paper, really, you're sewing it to the fabric. So
that's so pretty though.
So you use random sizes and widths. And this is December, so this is how it came out. It came out really nice.
Cool. What's the? Those are the ones on the wall over there.
Those are the ones on the wall over there.
Leslie's got a sticky wall.
Yep. This is. It's not because it's dirty. It's
it's
a quilt design wall. It's a piece of felt. Yeah. So yeah, this is the last one. So I'll need to take a look at some other people and how they finished theirs. There are instructions on what you need to do to finish your quilt. But yeah, I've got a whole nother one.
Wow.
Right? I was busy this week.
You were. All the quilt blocks.
Laura's like, I'm sick, I don't want to record. And I'm like, cool, I'm busy, bye.
Yeah.
Of course, I had been sick like 2 days before. So this is the Social Beast sampler. So... put you right here.
Also, now that it gets dark at 6 p.m., I'm like, it's bedtime.
Yeah, seriously.
It's actually 7:30 right now.
Alright, so this is the Social Beast sampler, and I'm trying to find, there's a thing, so this is what it looks like without any color in the, so
you
really,
can color it.
Yeah, this just lets you sort of design as you go. The finished quilt, I don't remember how big it is, so I'm not going to spend time looking at it. But this was the Social Beast sampler by Maureen.
Well, how many blocks does it have?
Maureen Cracknell and Sharon Holland. It has 25 squares. In each square, once I true it up, will be 12.5 inches. So that's 5 feet plus sashing and edging and all that. So it'll be like...
almost me-sized.
Yeah. Mostly a bed-sized quilt. Unless you're Laura. So each block comes with instructions on how to make it and what fabrics you need and all that. So a while ago, this was something that Sarah D and I were going to do together. And I think we did the first 3.
Did she finish hers already?
I have no idea.
You should ask her.
Probably. I mean, she's amazing. So, Sarah D knits on Ravelry. She's a good friend of ours. So a while ago I cut the fabric for the squares, if it said I needed 2 3-inch squares or whatever, so I'd already done that part, but not the edging, the sashing for each square, because I hadn't decided on what to make yet. So I had to cut the sashing for each square and finish up the squares and I think I had to start at number 16 or 17. So I did 7 full squares and then added sashing to all the rest. So I'm just going to...
Do you need help?
No. So 1.
I love the whale one.
2.
It's so cute.
3.
With the presents, that's cute too.
Oh, I skipped one. And I didn't really make any attempt to fussy cut stuff.
Oh, more whales!
5. 6.
It's so pretty.
And there's a lot of like non-perfect points in here. I don't care.
I like the colors though. They're shirts.
It came together in a fat quarter, so I knew the
Okay.
colors would work. I'm crap at picking out colors.
More fish.
Waves.
Whales! These whales are adorable.
This one was a royal pain because the teeny tiny
Little
little
bow ties.
squares.
Aww. Little happy whales. More little happy whales.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Flying geese.
Yes, my favorite.
Laura's favorite. Yeah, and the bigger ones don't have sashing.
Or shirts.
Yeah, little shirts. I liked those.
Those are
It was a
super
weird
cute.
combo of like whales,
Shirts.
and then there's like a Japanesey kind of grid fabric in here too, that has like Buddha temples and the Eiffel Tower and
Little schools of fish.
yeah,
Whales.
yeah, different. Oh my God, there's so many.
More shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is the weird Japanesey
yeah,
grid.
that's
I
super
did
cute.
fussy
There's
cut
a Loch
these.
Ness monster.
Yeah, I did fussy cut these tiny little squares because they weren't going to be further cut into smaller blocks, so I did fussy cut those.
Yes, you need to fussy cut those. And another whale.
Yeah.
And
It was a house.
Yeah.
A little tree.
cherry blossom tree.
So we're at 20.
Whales.
We're almost done.
Aw, more shirts. More
flying
whales.
geese. Yeah, if I were to do it again, I would pick fabrics that weren't directional. Because, like, these are waves, but it's really hard to tell that when they're, like, sideways.
Yeah.
No, it's not a huge deal, but just if I were to do it again. This is, I think, Friendship Stars, what that one was called.
Little bow ties again.
Yep. And then there's the last one.
Nice.
So I just have to take my trusty 12.5-inch
Oh, look at that. That's
ruler
perfect.
and
Square them up.
hope that all of them are at least 12.5 inches.
Oh, gosh.
If not, I've got extra of this sashing
Sashing.
fabric, and I'll just cut new pieces to make sure that they reach 12.5 inches. I learned a lot putting these together, and learned how my machine will walk. Like, you have to have precise half-inch seams, and if you're not paying attention the whole time you're feeding your pieces in to be sewn, you'll end up with a wider or narrower.
Yep.
And so,
That's me with the laminating machine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what happened here?
yeah, so I've sort of learned some of the, like, ticks of my machine. So hopefully the next quilt that needs precise points, they'll be more precise. But in the end, I really don't care if it's not perfect. So,
And
yes.
If it's for you, that's what matters.
Yeah, well, I don't even know who they're going to be for, honestly. I have an idea about this one, but
The Joanne's one.
yeah,
Gotcha.
but we'll see. I've been talking for forever, so now it's your turn.
I have some spinning. I have 2 finished skeins. Both are very Halloween fall colored. I finished them up on Saturday and got them wound off and in their bath. And so the first is Hello Yarn. And it is
Ooh.
the Skip colorway. It's organic Polworth. It plumped up very nicely. It started at 400 yards. I bet it's like 350 now.
It's got a really good, like, fall
Yes.
sort of spicy theme to it. I like
Yes, I spun this back in like July and just plied it.
it.
It was a colorway, her 621 colorway. So June. So I wasn't too far behind on the.
621's the date. Okay.
Yeah. So it was her club colorway. It smells so good. And I spun it on the Sparrow and I 2-plied it. I had to get some sparrow bobbins to start the sweater spin over. So I was like, oh, I need to ply. So that was the first. And then when we were hanging out with people, I spun a single on the Starling and then chain plied it. Also very fall. I love the gray in this one. And this is Wound Up Fiber Arts Cordale.
That one's got kind of a scummy green that says Jess to me.
Yeah, it's 220 yards. Yeah, it's got like that it makes me think of Lola Bean Adele, that like khaki olive. Mm-hmm. It's an olive green. That's one of her favorite colors.
Cool.
So yeah, so 220 yards of a chain ply. I like it a lot. My chain ply is never as even as other plying because you're folding it back on itself, so any imperfections are going to be magnified.
Yeah.
But I like it. I'm digging it. 2 very fall colors. So yeah. That is the spinning for me. Both of those were plied on the Hansen and then spun on Daedalus wheels because I'm doing all the sweater spinning on my other wheels. That's what it feels like anyway. So yeah, 8 ounces. I feel like it's been a while since I had some finished yarn, so that feels good for sure.
Yeah.
I am still reading the Ordinary Magic series. I'm on book 7 now, but it's weird because there were like 3 short stories in there too.
I had to think of those.
Then
so that's
got
like a
combined.
male-female paranormal.
Yeah, male-female paranormal romance. Ordinary Magic is Ordinary in I think it's in Oregon.
Yeah.
Is where gods can leave their powers to go on vacation. So like Zeus goes on vacation and decides to make like wood sculptures, and they have to leave their god powers at the door. And it's about 3 sisters that inherit the job from their father who's passed away kind of suspiciously. And they
like
all
the
work in the
sheriffs.
sheriff's department and have different love interests and different talents. So yeah, it's just a cute little, now there's demons. Oh, demons.
Of course.
And there's vampires and werewolves, so there's also other paranormal things besides gods that just live in. There's a mer person, there's a Valkyrie, there's a Gorgon, so there's other paranormal things that live in the area as well. And it's just nice. And there's also a knitting and crocheting drama because the author, Devin Monk, is a knitter. And so she's got a knit club and a crochet club, and they're always feuding and doing yarn bombs in the town.
That's great.
Which, and the knit club is called Kink. So it's very funny.
That's cute.
It's enjoyable. So there's a little fiber arts tie-in in there as well. Yep, so that's what I've been reading. Adult-wise, those are adult books, male, female, paranormal. What have you been reading?
Well, my author is, I believe, also a knitter.
Sam Burns. Yeah, she is.
I thought so, but I didn't want to say for sure.
She watches the podcast.
Well, hi, Sam. I'm reading The Fantastic Fluke.
I like that series.
Yeah, I really like
cute.
The familiar is a fox named Fluke.
Yep.
And so it's paranormal male romance. I'm on the 2nd book.
She's got a new Alien series that I need to try.
Okay. I'm not opposed to aliens. So yeah, I like Sam's writing. I like, she doesn't go for your sort of typical cookie cutter hero, which is nice. It's a different kind of protagonist. So,
yeah.
And then I'm still listening to Maintenance Phase with Michael Hobbs and Aubrey Gordon. I will sing it from the rooftops. It's a fantastic podcast. You should definitely check it out. It's about diet culture and weight stigma and fat bias and lots of other things. And they just sort of talk about origins and misconceptions and how, certain studies that set precedents were based on completely just
made up
bull logic. Yeah.
So
it's really, they have a great rapport, and sometimes it doesn't even matter what the topic is. It's just you love listening to them together. They're great.
Perfect.
That's it for me. I don't have anything like super important as far as other stuff. I did finish the Halloween costume for my niece, but the only picture I have has her face in it, and I forgot to ask if it was okay. So I'm gonna wait, and I'll show it next week.
If it's okay.
If it's okay.
If not, we can put a smiley face over
it. But she watches the podcast sometimes, so
Aww.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, not just because of that, but also she's an individual and has the
Consent
right
is important
to say whether it's okay to put her in the podcast. So, yeah, I think that's it. It gets dark so early, and you know,
to be up so early.
Yeah, and it's just like I just want to crawl in bed. Like I finished work right after 5 o'clock, and I knew that Laura was going to be here at like 6:30, so I took a 40-minute nap.
Nice.
So maybe now I'll have time to sew the overalls tonight or something.
I did not nap, but I might go read some Devin Monk
in bed.
And fall asleep.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Like it's dark, so you can be asleep now. It's cool.
Nice and cozy.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your night.
Yep, we'll talk to you next week.
Sometime soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.